my guess was correct about how to put the processor in there. Again, what you want to look for, and unless you read the manual carefully or unless you know what you're looking for, this picture right here in the manual kind of shows it, but what you have to look for is this very little dot, that little arrow that's in the bottom right hand corner of the processor. It's telling you to put it in this way. And so if I hold the manual the same way, the back of the cover is back here, and on the motherboard that's right here, so I closed it again. So let me open up that cover again. And so again, that little tiny gold arrow, they've been making that same marking on processors for 20 years now, almost. Goes in that bottom left hand corner. So make sure that you don't touch the bottom and you don't drop it. You want to be very, very gentle with it and just set it in there. Set it on top. And then wiggle it around a little bit and it'll kind of fall in place. There are some little tiny grooves in there that it slides into, and now it is in there. And again, you just want to wiggle it very gently with your fingers and make sure that it's in there good and seated correctly. Now, so what Intel's telling us these days is take this cover and close it. So we flip it down, and then we pull this little spring arm all the way down, and look there, that little plastic cover popped off all by itself. That's kind of nifty. So now the processor is in there and it's locked in place. It's not going to go anywhere. But it's crucial, before you ever put any power on this thing or try to run it, you make sure to put the heat sink on. Now, a couple of things you need to know about the heat sink. There are these little 4 feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, that pop into these 4 holes that are around the processor on the motherboard. You have to decide before you start putting it down. Try it out. Don't set it all the way down there, otherwise you'll mess up that little thermoconductive grease that's on there. But try it out. You have to find the little power supply cord here and decide how you want to put this on there to be able to plug this into the right hole. Now on this motherboard right here it says, I don't know how much you can zoom in, maybe you can see that it says CPU fan for this little 4-pin power connector right there. The one above it says CHA fan 1. That stands for chassis fan. We're going to plug in one of the fans from the case into that chassis fan, but this is the CPU fan right there. Now it's important to plug this into the right, the CPU fan into the right hole, because motherboards now can detect when the CPU is getting too hot, and it can make that fan spin faster to cool it down. What I decided looks like the best orientation, because you can put it, spin it around any of 4 positions. The position that looked best to me was this way. So that this cord can plug in right there. So I'm going to get up on my knees, because these little feet can be hard to pop into these 4 holes. And so I only want to set this down on top of there one time. I'm going to get it good and centered. And I'm going to set these feet into the 4 holes as I set it down, to try to smudge that grease as little as possible. I just want to put it in there once really good. Okay, now the feet are sitting just gently into those 4 holes. So once you pop the feet in, it's very difficult to get them back out. Sometimes they'll pop right back out. So before I pop these in, I want to make absolutely sure. I want to take a little break and make absolutely sure this is how I want this. And I'm going to make sure that this cable actually will go on here.